The federally managed pedigree areas, VALE, were merged in the nation's administration main, proper portion of the northern provincial of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, by a parliament correction adopted by the Senate on Friday. With Pakistan's create in 1947, the pedigree areas, a uneven, poor range adjoining Afghanistan, include been controlled immediately by Islamabad by a severe colonialist-era framework of Act. In Almighty policy agents implement the order to levy joint punishments on tribes and to prison suspects out of test. Nature reserve for militants for the US-led warfare on terrorism. It became a nature reserve for Al-Qaeda terrorists and Taliban militants fight and rebellion versus an world coalition in neighboring Afghanistan. Ex-US CEO Barack Obama duplicated at the largest hazardous location in the planet. The Pakistan War has salaried a episode of main operative down there in the history 10-year to gear growing belligerence. For many decades, reform supporters include named for the region to be driven in the administration stack as it became more illegal and non-transparent, in the war prohibiting external actors. Talk a day over to the domestic gathering, wherever the draft was gone, Main Secretary Martyr Kakan Abbasi told how a lot needed domestic unanimity, on VALE, has been reached. This identical schools, hospitals, roads how everyone else in Pakistan has accessing to must now be taking into account to the human beings of VALE, he added. The governing Pakistan Muslim League afternoon, PMLN, side announced how reforms would be followed by a $865 millionth pact to exonerate the infrastructure facilities of the area. No deliberate humane in the pedigree areas. Human beings came out on the gateway and allocated confection to commemorate the Reformation. Mansour Ahmed, 31, of Momend Pedigree region, told how he was since complimentary since this dark laws will be abolished. A day up we were residing in the colonialist age and currently, present we are using factual liberty. Now VALE will as well take part in the growth of Pakistan, he added. Else inhabitant told it will be love start a new lifetime. We were never deliberate humane by the centuries-old colonialist act. But now we will stay in front line of the planet and will show them how we as well merit to begin our new lifetime, told Delawarchek, 40. Opposition lead Imran Khan, whose policy side rest KP's country by the government, named the GO a enormous move to address the grievances of the human beings of VALE. Newly, dissatisfaction has shed out of the pedigree areas, wherever year of war and abuse include leftward villages ruined and lives destroyed by belligerent abuse and hard-handed by the government intervention, especially chaotic murder and arrests. The region's human beings, the most of whom are ethnical Pashtuns, or Pakhtuns, include started to say out versus injustices devoted by the strong war, a usually ban object. The institution has been stunned by massive protests organized by the Pashtun Tahaffuz Motion, PTM, Tahaffuz to protect in the Urdu tongue. The motion, that is devoted to ahimsa, is needing authorities' answer to accusations of participation in the die and extinction of hundreds of Pashtuns in VALE, and warranty rights for the region's tribes. Historically, the pedigree areas were run by both of policy agents, with the Severe Border Crimes Regulatory, FCR, and pedigree chiefs, or maliks, presiding officer above pedigree councils, jirga. The framework was substantially deleted by militants who overran the areas for the Union intrusion of Afghanistan, coercion out policy agents and murder above 100 maliks. Hopes for superior females' rights. The pedigree areas are firmly patriarchy. Females' rights groups expect the new reforms will conduct to a more than equivalent community. In the FCR and the pedigree jirgas in location, the whole framework in VALE was not at all female-friendly. Down there was no presentation or vote of female creature heard. In the fleeting of the draft one hopes how the stealth of female win be down there over, told Samar Mainullah, an Islamabad-based females' rights militant who has treated heavily in VALE. The reforms were welcomed as a famous action through Pakistan. Analysts told the GO was obviously synchronized to increase the governing PLMN's chances at general elections planned to get location in July, but how they were length expired. It is an enormous win for reformation-oriented Pakistanis, told Mosharraf Zaidi, a visible policy analysis and observer. This normalization of veil will once change the legislative statute of veil's residents of discredited nationality to regular, equivalent nationality. Yet persecuted by belligerents, Zaidi added how letter of credit was due to all such who cooperative to undergo the milestone draft, consisting the war who include retaken belligerent controlled area in a episode of Operative with 2014. Yet, the dark of belligerence yet hangs above the area. In February, U.S. CEO of Domestic Intellect Dan Coates charged Pakistan of keeping behind on collaboration in the U.S. time lag to get stricter activity versus belligerent groups. CEO Donald Trump cardreally openly emphasized U.S. concerns on Pakistan's dependability and consistency in his at first chirp of 2018, setting Islamabad in the crosshairs for its put and deception. They offer secure refuge to the terrorists we search in Afghanistan, in slight assist, he tweeted. The on the internet explosion viewable a January 8 ad how the U.S. would freeze over safety aid to Pakistan, shut to $1 trillion, above its fail to clip downward on terrorism groups during its national borders.